Hello, hello, everyone. So if you guys can see and hear me, go ahead and say that you can see and hear me in the chat. Hi, Casey. All right, let's see. Let's see if we can get this loaded. All right. If you guys are joining me, let me know that you can see and hear me. Happy Friday, everyone. I'm so excited to kind of take you guys all through this journey. Hi, Olivia. How are you? Okay, awesome, awesome. I am excited to kind of walk you guys through just my life journey, my awakening, and just kind of all about who I am. I know that I have a lot of followers, some new followers, so I just wanted to kind of reintroduce myself. And I never really, even for my old followers, everyone who has been there from the absolute beginning, I don't think that I've ever just put my entire story out there. So I really wanted to get very, very close and personable with everybody and just kind of let you guys know who I am, what I'm all about. That way you guys kind of know really, really get a sense of why I do what I do, and how I do what I do. But yeah, so I'll just give it a couple more minutes. But I just want to put it out there that I'm not doing any readings or anything. This is just more of like a get to know me kind of thing. If you have any question that you ever wanted to ask me, you can always go ahead and ask me. This is going to be more like story time. I do have my tea and everything. It's very light, it's still steeping, so waiting on that. But yeah, so we're just going to hang out. Hi, Chelsea. And yeah, so like I said, it's going to be all about me. I'll tell you guys my story. We might hit some ups, we might hit some downs. I am telling you right now, my story on how I became an energy healer is pretty intense. I'm not going to go into the deep, deep, deep stuff because it is really, really intense. Hi, Anthony. But I will get very, very, very close to the craziness. And just to kind of give you guys a general outline of my life and why I am doing what I'm doing. Hi, Jane. Thank you for joining. So I'll give it a couple more minutes, let some people join. But how's everyone's Friday going so far? Pretty good. Everyone's like, oh, the weekend is finally here. Love it. I'm excited. We have a soccer tournament this weekend, so most of our weekend will be taken up. But I love soccer, so my daughter is amazing at it. She's probably the best goalie ever. Hi, Haley. Yes, relaxing finally after the long week. So exciting. So I do want to kind of just put a little disclaimer out there too. Before I do get started, I just want to say that if I do say something, there are three sides to every story. So anyone who is involved or anything that I mention, I'm not going to put names or anything to anything. And I'm not, like I said, I'm not going to be spilling the deep, deep, deep stuff that has gone on with me. But anyone who was involved on my journey has their own side of their story. And anything that you hear tonight is based off of my personal perspective and the way that I personally perceived and experienced the events in my life. I do also want to say thank you, and I do show gratitude for all the people in my life who were the catalysts for who I am today. I know that before we kind of incarnated on this earth, we all had soul agreements, soul contracts, and we kind of agreed to play parts. And I know that those people, they agreed to play the tough parts this time, to kind of help me wake up and remember my true essence. And, I thank you all for it. I know it wasn't easy, and I know many of you don't even realize you even played a part in my awakening. But just know I see you and I thank you very, very much. Hi, Jessica. Thank you for joining us. So that's just my little disclaimer. I have done the healing. I have done all the work. Well, not all the work. I'm constantly trying to evolve myself and try and give my clients the best that they, that they deserve. So I'm always working on myself. That way I can help all of my clients. Um, yes, absolutely. Olivia says, I love how you say that. It takes a lot of healing to realize everyone has a version of how things go down. Absolutely. Because if it wasn't for those people to take on that hard role, then I wouldn't be, who I am and where I am today. They did take on that burden. We did agree on it. And now, I mean, I'm so thankful because, like I said, I would not be living my dream, doing what I love doing every day. So, yes, absolutely. So now that we're, most of you guys are here, if people join, we'll just let them kind of, join in. But tonight I just want to take everyone on a little journey of like who I am, what my spiritual awakening process looked like, and how I came into alignment as an energetic healer and life coach. So a little bit about me. I grew up in like this tiny little town across the bridge from Philadelphia. It was like a 1 square mile town. I graduated in a high school of about 72 people. So in a town that small, everyone knew everything about everybody. No, you couldn't keep a secret. Everyone knew your entire life. Everyone knew your story, your parents' story, your grandparents' story. Everyone knew everything about you. Except I did not tell anybody that I had this special gift. I did tell my best friend in high school, but I didn't tell her too many details just because, people tell you don't tell people those kind of things. And it wasn't very accepted. Like, no one wants all that business out there. And then, back then it was kind of labeled as like, you're a weirdo kind of thing, all the fearful things that get put on you. So I did tell my best friend growing up kind of about the gifts, and she kind of knew, but she didn't really ask, and I didn't tell her too much. But she would, she was completely supportive. As I was growing up, I did play soccer, and I did tell a few of the girls on my soccer team, that I could see things and things like that. They did want to try and test me. And that was when I had my first encounter with a Ouija board. I know everyone's like red flags and things like that. So I did dabble with a Ouija board when I was in high school. And I will say that was probably the most frightening thing of my life because we were all outside in my backyard and we had the Ouija board, we had the fire going, and I started doing my thing. And then all of a sudden, this negative entity was standing at the fence. And it just looked at me and it like just smiled this enormous grin. And I was just like, I closed it up. I was like, I'm done here. I am never doing this again. I swore it off and I was like, I am so done. I like prayed to God. I was like, come save me. Like, I'm so sorry. But yeah, I think after I saw that dark entity was like the last time that I tried reaching out for like anything like that. But growing up before, that high school stuff was going on, I did see angels. I did see cherubs. I saw ghosts, like my mom's grandmother. She came to me actually at a sleepover I was having. I went to the bathroom and then I was going back into the room where all my friends were. And she appeared to me and she looked at me. And then all of a sudden she just like flung into the wall. And then like, I know I just went to the bathroom. I'm like, I'm totally going to get real with you guys here. Like, filter completely off. You guys are going to know who I am. I actually peed myself when she flew into the wall because I was that scared. And I was just like, oh my goodness, what is going on? And then like I had another one where I thought my sister was in the house and I saw her legs go up the stairs. So I started chasing her. I was like, oh, I'm going to get her. And I started chasing her. And when I went up the stairs, there was no one there. So I thought she was hiding. So I'm like going through the house. I'm like, yelling her name. I'm like, where are you? Where are you? And then all of a sudden my mom, my brother, my other sister, they all walked through the front door. And I was like, okay, I get it. So I've had a lot of experiences as a child, with entities, with, just a bunch of different energies. My mom was open to it here and there. But for the most part, I really kept quiet about it just because, no one wants to be labeled as like the weird person or anything like that. I definitely tried my hardest to just kind of fit in and just kind of mesh in with the crowd. I don't know if anyone from my high school follows me or anything like that, but I don't know if I fit in too well because I was always told like I didn't fit into my family. And, people always just kind of, I don't know, I just didn't really mix in well. At least that's how I felt. So yeah. And honestly, I think a lot of spiritual mediums and psychics and energy healers, I think that's like a common story that you'll hear is, they didn't fit in very well when they were younger or things like that. And that's the funny thing. Like, I know that I fit in because I kind of got along with everybody. I played sports. I was very good at sports. I kind of just got along with everybody, but I just didn't fit into it like a certain crowd, if that makes sense. So yeah. It's kind of like my job too. Like I dabble a little bit of everywhere, but I'm not like, I don't hone into one thing. It's kind of been like a trend of my life. So, but yeah, let's see. But yeah, so all in all, I didn't tell anyone about any of my gifts. After high school, I went to college for a little bit. I had a full ride to a D1 school for soccer. I moved out of the house right away after high school because the living conditions were less than ideal for me. So we'll just say for my parents and we just didn't see eye to eye. So as soon as I graduated, I moved out. And I just wasn't really longer welcome in the house, which kind of forced me to work 3 jobs while being a full-time student and the captain of the soccer team on top of that. So you can kind of see where this is kind of going. It's kind of a recipe for disaster. But that's kind of, not being able to survive and working 3 jobs, going to school full time and doing all these things. It was just a lot of work for a young person. So it was just very overwhelming for me. So after a couple semesters of college, I ended up joining the military. Which, I mean, honestly, it was probably the best thing I could do because that is where I met my amazing husband of now 14 years. And this is kind of where like the fun part of my life begins. And if you thought like the homeless teen with 3 jobs, sleeping in her car, trying to make ends meet, showering in the school gym, sleeping at a friend's house, when her parents would actually let her come in, feeling completely abandoned and alone, was going to put me through my awakening. No, that's just like the fun, silly stuff. Everyone kind of goes through that kind of part of their life, So yeah, so I joined the military. I met my husband in the military. And then, so we got married. We had an amazing daughter. Our lives were pretty good. And then our daughter was a little over a year old. And then we both found out that we were both deploying. And at that time, we were both good with it. We both had, a good support group. Our family was very supporting. They watched her while we were deployed. So it all worked out. Deployment was hard, but I mean, we made it through. Anyone who has been military, they'll tell you it's not easy. But we got through it the best we could. So we got home. And this is probably like the hardest thing. I might get choked up because this is like one of the hardest things ever as a mom. So I got home and I'm like, I'm going to breathe. Like I said, this live is going to be so full of like highs and lows and craziness. So just get ready for an emotional roller coaster, get your tea ready and just brace yourself. So we got home from deployment. And my daughter did not know who we were, either me or my husband. Even though we were FaceTiming with her all the time, like I think we did it every week. We were able to FaceTime with her and kind of talk to her and everything like that. We got home and she saw us and she kind of like looked at us and she just didn't want anything to do with us. So it was very, very, very hard. Once again, deep breaths. So it was, very, very hard as a mom. So during everything, so when we were flying her home, so we had to go pick her up from New Jersey. Yeah, thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate that, guys. um, so we had to go up to New Jersey to go pick her up. And when we were flying back to Texas, because that's where we were stationed, I just remember being on the airplane and holding my little baby girl. And she would look at me and then look at my husband and then want my husband. So she would cry. And then so I would hand her to my husband. And then she would cry and then want me. So the whole flight, we were just passing her back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Oh my goodness, it was so heartbreaking. So moving on from that, during the deployment, me and my husband, we are planners. So we're like, okay, after this deployment, it's the end of your enlistment. So, we're kind of planning, like, what are you going to do? Are you going to re-enlist or are you going to get out? So, he decides that at the end of his enlistment that he wants to commission. He wants to pursue his dream and become a pilot. So commissioning is just kind of, so there's two in the military, you can either be enlisted or an officer. So he wants to go over to the officer realm so he can fly the planes instead of working on them. And of course, being a supportive wife, I'm like, yeah, let's do this. Like, okay, like, let's fulfill your dream. Like, absolutely, let's do this. So what I didn't know that I was agreeing to was at this exact moment, I was signing up for the most transformational, life-altering, biggest challenge of my life. I knew I wanted to support them in any way, shape, or form, but I really didn't know what that looked like or what that really meant. So my husband got out of the military and he ended up going to school full time at a college that was about an hour and a half away. So this meant for 4 years, I was the breadwinner of the house and it kind of fell on me. So that was a lot of pressure for me. We ended up getting him an apartment down next to his school because between gas, just the time that he was spending, it was 3 hours every day that he was just wasting driving. So the gas, the time, it was just a lot cheaper for us to buy, rent him an apartment down next to school than have him come home on weekends. So we ended up just getting him an apartment down there. That way he could just go to school during the week and then he would come home on the weekends. So that was from 2014 to about 2018. And in this time, we had 2 more children. We had our son in 2015 and our youngest daughter in 2017. So that meant doctor appointments, all of them by myself. So everyone who had like babies and had to do like the COVID appointments and things like that, yeah, I absolutely am right there with you. It sucked. It absolutely sucked. Like going and doing ultrasounds, all that. Like I feel for you. Not to mention during that time, I did have 2 miscarriages as well. Once again, gonna breathe. Like I said, I'm getting really down and dirty with you guys, getting very, very personal with you guys. So I was the one who would wake up with them, get them fed, bring them to daycare. Then I would go to work. I would pick them up. I'd go and work a 12-hour shift and then go pick them up from daycare, then go bring them to karate. Then it would be showers, dinner, bedtimes, things like that. I was pretty much just a functioning zombie. Like, I look back now and I'm just like, oh my gosh, what? I root for myself and I'm just like, how did you do it? Like, honestly, it blows my mind that I was able. I have no idea, but yeah. So then in 2018, my husband commissioned and it was very, very exciting because I was like, oh my goodness. Yeah. I finally get my husband back. Like, oh my goodness. Yes. Finally we can be a family. And then he got stationed in Del Rio, Texas for pilot training because he got, he fulfilled his dream. He got selected to be a pilot. Everything was flowing for him. Everything was great. But that meant, so I lived in Abilene, Texas. I was stationed at Dias. So he was in Del Rio, Texas, which was 4 hours away. So that was a total of him driving 8 hours on the weekends instead of the hour and a half. So he would drive 4 hours, hang out with us on the weekend, and then he'd have to be, drive 4 more hours to make sure he was back at work in time on Monday. So he would leave Friday and then be back before Monday. So 8 hours total, gas, time, money, all that stuff. It was, not fun. So at this point, I was kind of exhausted of everything. My husband, it was a lot of work on his end. My kids were very young, so they didn't really know too much. It wasn't out of the norm or anything like that. So, hi, Sue. So it was just kind of exhausting at this point, but we were making it work. But at work, it was kind of like you whoever's a mom, you guys know, like when your kids are sick and you have to go pick them up from work, you know that slack that you get from work. But when my kids were sick and I would have to leave work, people would say, why do you always have to get your kids? You have a husband. Why can't he pick them up? But they knew my situation. And I'm like, well, he lives 4 hours away. Like, what do you want me to do? And then, of course, not one kid gets sick, then the next one the next day, and then the next one the next day. So, it's always that perpetual thing. So my husband for a whole year would just drive home on the weekends to come see us, or we would go see him every once in a while. We would kind of go back and forth. But about after, 5 years, getting close to 6 years of this, you can imagine it was pretty exhausting. I mean, family life was just very, very exhausting, trying to keep all the pieces together. But we were hanging on by strings, but hanging on nonetheless. But it was definitely stressful and taking a toll. Angela, I'm angry for you. That's annoying just to hear. I know. It was, like I said, I think I look back at it and I'm just like, oh my gosh, I can't even believe. I'm so grateful we were able to stay strong and get through it. Keep pushing is just like one of those things. Just keep going. But I'm like, and it gets worse. Like, well, it gets better though in the end. But yeah, I just want to take a breather real quick because I just want to say that was just the home life portion. And that's just a very, very, very small, tiny fraction of what was going on during these 6 years of my life. Many things I will choose to leave out tonight just to kind of save face and refrain from defamation of people, because I have done that healing, kind of like I said before, just from these situations. And I do feel like if bringing them up, it's not going to do any good. It's not going to, and I don't want to trigger anything in other people. So I'll just leave all those portions out. And like I said, we're not going to go so deep, but just giving you guys a little bit of surface scratching of, the couple years of my life. But for reference, just know that little sneak peek into my home life was just like a little sniff of the pie, if you will. Casey says, infuriating, they put everything on you, the mother, the military will never understand. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes. That's all I will say is yes, absolutely. Hello to everyone who's just joining us. Olivia says, when you're in survival mode, it's just trying to make it every day. You don't see the bigger picture or the light at the end of the tunnel. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. And that's all I was doing. I saw his goal and I just kept telling myself a little bit longer. And it was just like every little goal that we were reaching, it was like something else was added on. It was just, it felt like it was never going to end at that point. But so that was just a small peek into the home life. Now for my work life, the thing was keeping food on the table because I was the breadwinner because my husband was going to school and then until he commissioned, the thing, it was that thing that allowed everything to kind of fall into place and get us to where we are now. I will say for the first 9 years of my military career, I will say that I really, really loved it. I did make connections with people that I will never forget, really amazing people. I had amazing, like I went on TDYs. I've done so many really, really incredible things because of the military that I probably never would have done if I never left my hometown. But my discord for the military happened when I started asking for help. And that is one thing that Casey had said, infuriating when they put everything on you, the mother. So after my husband commissioned, his base was willing to create a job for me so our family could be together. But my functional denied me. The functional was just someone who just moves the jobs around and things like that. They kind of can trade people. But they denied me because we were low manned and because I was a 7 level. So we didn't have enough 7 levels in the shop in order, for us to lose one. So because of numbers, he didn't want to lose somebody because it would look bad on paper. Not taking into account my mental health or anything like that. So, I kept pushing on, doing my best. When I look back, it's just so crazy to me because the state that I was in. Deep breath again, because I'm like, I hurt for that girl. I hurt for her so bad. Man, and it blows my mind because the people around me, they didn't realize I was hurt. They did not see the disconnect. They did not see the depression. They did not see the disassociation that I was going through. There was times where I would go out and I would do my daily inspections and I would go cry in the bathroom, shake it off, and then go back to work. But it's the military. And it was you were always told, suck it up. And even growing up, it was always, stop crying or I'll give you something to cry about, stiffen that upper lip. Just, you just don't do it. You suck it up. So that's what I did. I sucked it up. But yeah, people didn't realize how much I was going through outside of work. One second. Caught a scammer, so give me 1 second. But yeah, people didn't realize how much I was going through. And I was maintenance. So I worked outside. I worked on aircraft. I was outside in the elements, in the freezing cold, working on aircraft. So it was a lot of emotional, mental stuff that was going on. But then I would go to work and there would be a lot of physical things going on, working in the weather and things like that. And it's so funny because when my clients learn that I used to be a mechanic, they're just like, what? So if you guys think that's funny, you guys can post it in the comments that if you guys don't think that I look like I would ever be a mechanic. I'm actually really good. And I'm actually a very good carpenter too. So most of my houses that I buy or when we move, I always redo the interior and things like that. And actually it comes out very, very good. So, but you guys can laugh at me if you guys want to. But yeah, a lot of my clients I tell them I used to be a mechanic and they're just like, what? But Angela says, it truly is insane to me how people are so dismissive of that feeling of complete disconnect from everything, especially if you get the courage to ask for help. Absolutely. Absolutely. It was, yeah. Yeah, it's definitely survival skills at its finest. And I do feel like it was all necessary for me to kind of go through. I know that kind of sounds crappy, just because it has taught me so much. And when I it's good though, because I can sense it in someone else like that. Not only energetically, but I love what I do because people can come to me so I have a lot of veterans who can come to me and they don't have to tell me a word. And I love it because I can pick up on it energetically, and they don't have to tell me their whole life story because I can pick it up energetically, and we don't have to go through all the stuff that happened. I can just, meet them where they are and just kind of go from there. And I love that they don't have to relive all that trauma. So yeah, it is definitely a part of that survival. Oh, Cheyenne, she said she's done bricklaying as a trade. No judgment here. Awesome. Love it. And Anthony says, I served with a bunch of women mechs, some of the smartest people in the hangar deck. Yes, absolutely. I've worked with some really badass women mechanics. And to be honest, a lot of them are a lot better than men. I'll just say it. Like a lot of them, because no offense to men, they think through things and they don't just start banging on things. You know what I mean? No offense to men, but yeah, I have met a lot of very, very, very smart, talented women mechanics. So yeah, but yeah, just going back to kind of what I was talking about was like, people just don't realize, or they just didn't realize how much I was going through. Not even the people that I worked with side by side every single day. They didn't even realize, like, when I was going through Airman Leadership School, which is a school that we have to go through as like a development, I was still bleeding from my miscarriage as I was going to class. I was showing up to class every day. I was class leader, holding everyone else around me accountable. They didn't know that when I was in the middle of a huge base-wide inspection, that I was pretty much in charge of my unit, like my section. I got a call from my doctor saying that they need me to come in to do tests because I might have ovarian cancer. Once again, breaths. It was so intense. They didn't see that there was a person, like a human being with feelings and everything, breathing. There was a person who was standing behind that promotion, behind that quarterly award, who just wanted her family. And here we go with the low. So give me a second. She just wanted normalcy. They just saw, well, your husband's an officer. He's doing a pilot. He's being a pilot and everything. It can't be that bad. You'll be fine. You'll figure it out like you always do. You're strong. You'll be okay. Y'all got to give me a second. Like I said, it's going to get real in here. So, but I think that's why I do what I do, to be honest. Because I just feel like there's so many people in this world who just don't feel seen. And I can see people where they are without them having to tell me. And I think that's what my clients love about it, is because they, like I said, they don't have to tell me, they don't have to relive it. They don't have to go through their entire story when they step into my office. And it's, it's just kind of like, let's just start the healing. Yeah, so Terry says, bad misconception for women sometimes. Everyone assumes we will just figure it out and get it done. Yes. Oh, Haley, I'm sorry. I don't mean to break your heart. Yeah, I did warn you guys. I did. I told you I'm getting so real, like super real with you guys. I just want to know you, like, let you guys know who I am, where I'm coming from, but it gets better. I promise it gets better. Highs and lows. But Cheyenne says, understand that one too. I've stood in my then 4-year-old violin class, and the teacher had the parents perform while I actively going through a miscarriage. I've also stood as a bridesmaid when I went through another miscarriage. Yes. People don't understand that miscarriages are very, very, very common. And it's hard to go through one. The emotions and everything of going through a miscarriage is very, very intense. And it sucks. It really does suck because there's absolutely nothing you can do, but you still have to show up. You still have to, you can't just stop being a mom, you still have to just go through the motions and do what you need to do. It's that survival mode. So yeah, so going back, take a breath, everyone, take a breath with me. So about a year of this kind of downward spiral that I was kind of going through with like my home life. Also, I do want to put out there that my husband is just the most amazing support. Like I am like probably the most luckiest person in the world with when I found my husband. Absolutely divine timing when I found him. Everything perfectly aligned because he is the most supportive. Just I can't even put into words what he means to me. Perfect, absolutely perfect. Absolutely love him. I can't even, like I said, words can't even explain it. Can't even explain it. Absolutely love him. He was my rock going through all of this. There was times where he wasn't sure if he should have kept going. But I made sure that he kept going because I wanted him to fulfill his dream. That way, all the BS that we went through wasn't for nothing. And now he is living his dream. So I know that, like, I feel like someone, in the background is having that question kind of thing. So just for anyone, just to clear that up, my husband is absolutely amazing. And he's like my seriously number one supporter in anything that I do. So I just want to throw that out there. But yeah, so through everything of that, like I said, of that downward spiral, of kind of it was pretty much, if anyone knows what a dark night of the soul is, that's kind of what all that was for me. And after all that, that's kind of when I started my awakening process. That's kind of when I was like, okay, enough is enough. Like, the military only sees me as a number because I went to them and I told them, like, I don't know what else to do. Like, I can't physically function anymore. Like, I'm losing my mind. Like, there is nothing I can't do this anymore. And they were just like, well, you'll be okay. You'll figure it out. And I'm just like, well, okay. My breakdown, I'll tell you, I know exactly the time when my awakening and everything just fell into place. I was crying in my bed. My kids were playing in their room, and I was just crying, asking for a sign, hoping that someone would see me, someone would hear me. And then I just finally said, I came across this video. I heard someone talking about crazy law of attraction stuff. And I'm like, okay, whatever. I'll just do it. What is the worst that could happen? And, weird divine timing stuff. I didn't know anything about that at that time. And I was just like, you know what? I have nothing to lose. I release control. I'm done. I'm done trying to do any of this. I release control. It is yours. I'm done. And that is when everything, when I say everything, I 100 full-fledged mean everything fell into place. I had gotten signs later on. I think it was like 2 days later to go see a psychiatrist on beach, which if you were in the military, is like a huge no-no. Like, they call it a career killer. If you go see a psychiatrist, you're done. Like, you're probably going to get kicked out, and like, you just don't do it. I had 4 sessions with her. And thank God she was an open psychiatrist. Many people don't know this, but psychologists and psychiatrists are like, many of them are very, very spiritual and very, very open. A lot of them are afraid to come out with their spirituality because of how society, there's a stigma against being spiritual for some reason. But there's even like Facebook groups that like have all these psychiatrists and stuff in there that do like their woo stuff, and they all have like private businesses and stuff. Anyway, that's another story. But I had like 4 sessions with this lady, and she opened my eyes tremendously. And she like, it was funny because I did most of the talking during the sessions, and she's like, I don't know why you're even here. You know exactly what you need to do. And by the way, you'd be a great psychiatrist. So if you end up getting out, I want you to go to school for psychiatry, and psychology, do anything that you need to do on that stuff. And then she told me about a thing called Palace Chase, where you can end your military career or your contract early, but you just have to serve in the reserves, because I was active duty. So, I went like 2 days after I basically told the universe, like, I'm done. Went and saw this lady. I think it was like a month, like, because I had a session with her like every week. Then she told me about the Palace Chase. So we were kind of working. I think it was like the second session she told me about the Palace Chase. And then after that month, we were getting a new commander. So I actually talked to that commander. I went around my entire chain of, supervision, everything, because they all denied me and said no to me and everything. And she signed my papers and approved me for this Palace Chase that I had never heard of, never even knew was even a thing or even existed in anything. So yeah. And then I got approved from her, and then it went higher up into the chain. It got approved from AFPC. And in less than 6 months, when my husband, he moved from Del Rio to Albuquerque to finish up a little bit more pilot training. But in less than 6 months, we were moving to Alabama with him. Like, for the first time, we were going to be a family, all because I let go of control. I was just like, I was just blown away. And honestly, in the meantime, when all of like the paperwork and everything was kind of going, and I was like packing up and getting my house ready to go live with my husband finally, after I think it was like 6.5 years, we didn't fully live in the same house together. I was opening up to the people around me about my situation. And a lot of people around me and the people I worked with, they started to open up about their issues, and their depression, and they kind of confided in me. And I convinced them to go get help and things like that. And it was a lot more people than, I had suspicions, and what I know now, that were a lot of more signs and guidance and downloads about people, that's another story too. About people in the military, and a lot of downloads that I was getting that I didn't know were downloads at the time. I helped a lot of people get a lot of help just in that 6 months of me seeking my own help and leaving. So yeah, it was definitely very, very helpful. Angela says that damn leap of faith. Oh, yes. Yes, absolutely. And I had to be at my lowest, at my absolute lowest. I'm like, what? I'm stubborn. I mean, apparently, you guys, and like I said, you guys are only getting like the tiniest little, little wind that kind of like blew by, of what kind of was going on with me, but it was a lot. And that damn leap of faith will help every time. So yeah, just releasing the control and just trusting the universe. But yeah, less than 6 months, we moved to Alabama, and it was absolutely amazing. Besides me learning to sleep in bed with my husband again, I will say I will never buy anything less than a king size bed ever. So yeah, I was able to transition into the reserves. I took a year off from work besides working in the reserves, which is just the one weekend a month. So I did that. I was able to work on myself through a friend. I met a medium who introduced me to Reiki. And honestly, I have not looked back since. I've been doing energy work. I've been doing so much research, and everyone who's been following me for a very long time, you guys know that I love my science. I love my research. I love when science and spirituality meet. but it doesn't hold me back anymore. I used to like only believe in things that science proves, but I don't let it hold me back anymore. Like I'm shooting for the stars. Like, let's go. I trust my guides. Like we're a team now. So we definitely work together. But yeah, so we moved to Maryland a few years ago. I started my business. I was doing it more as a hobby than I got out of the military fully last March. And now I do it full time. So in this time, I've met some amazing people like spiritual medium Ashley, Dark Path Healing Sarah, the Seer Cat, East Coast Shaman Isabel, Wendy. But yeah, like I've just met so many amazing people, and like everything in my life has just aligned so perfectly. Like I get my soul clients, anyone who needs my type of healing and my type of like expertise, like I just know that my clients are coming to me, and I know that what I have to offer, I mean, is what they need. So I just trust in the universe, and I don't have to push it. I don't force it. I just let it happen. Not trying to boast or anything. But yeah, so it's been awesome. But what I'm trying to say is just from that day of letting go and just releasing and trusting the universe, my life has just been in an alignment. It's just been in a state of bliss. I wake up every day to help other people find their life purpose, to find their life path. Let them know that they are being seen. So that's why I put so much time and so much effort into my business, because I really do have a passion for it. I love helping people. I strive every day to be the person that I would have wanted when I was going through all this stuff. Like if I had somebody back then who was spiritual, who could have just been like, listen, girl, calm down. You're going through a dark night of the soul. You need to do this, like ground, make sure you're drinking some water, make sure you're doing this, and help me through it. Oh my gosh, I could have saved myself so much chaos. So yeah, so I strive every single day to be the person that I really, really needed back then. But everything happens for a reason, right? There are no coincidences. Everything happens for a reason. Everything in my life path has happened to make me the person that I am now, to give people, to give me kind of an insight and give me the strength that I need for my life and to kind of help other people. And honestly, I wouldn't trade it for the world. The universe doesn't give us more than we can handle, right? So yeah, I hope that you guys enjoyed my story. But yeah, people always ask me, what is my profession? And honestly, I have to kind of compare it to my military job, to be honest. If I'm being fully honest. When I was in the military, I was a crew chief. So they always say a crew chief is a jack of all trades, master of none, though oftentimes better than master of one, right? Everyone always says jack of all trades, master of none, but they forget that there's a little bit more to that saying. And I feel like that is like my thing. Like I feel like I'm a primary care doctor for your energy. Like I go in, I analyze your energy, and I tell you what you need. I can speak to your guides. I can speak to your spiritual team, your ancestors, past loved ones. I can give you spiritual guidance. I can remove stuck and stagnant energy from your chakras. I can take you through breath work or meditation. I'm a little bit of everything. But if you need a specialized area where I can't get deep enough, then I will recommend you to someone that I trust. But not to toot my own horn. I haven't had that happen yet. But I do have people that I do trust. You're going to hear my dogs. My husband just pulled into the driveway. So if you hear my dogs, I apologize. But yeah, so I'm kind of like, with my Reiki sessions, I do go in. I do try to help you guys and really pinpoint what it is on your journey, where you guys need to kind of go from there. But yeah, so if anyone has of course the dogs always, right? Thank you, Jessica. I try. I every day I try to improve myself. And honestly, I just do it for you, for all of you, because I want to get myself to a place where I am constantly improving myself so I can, and, honestly, so I can help everyone else around me. Casey said, "You've helped me on my healing journey so far. Thank you so much." Absolutely. Anytime. So at this time, I know I was kind of like rambling a lot. There was a lot to go over. Does anyone have any questions that they would like to ask me? Like I said, it's an emotional roller coaster. There's going to be highs and lows. But like I said, I love where I'm at right now. Like with my family, like my husband, my children, my dogs, my house, like I absolutely love my business. I love what I do. I am so thankful for everything that was placed in front of me. It was a lot. It was absolutely so much, but it has made me who I am today. And yeah, so now that y'all know a little bit of my story, yeah. So Terry said, I did one Reiki session with Kelly at Ashley's Spiritual Fair, but I didn't understand it. So, okay, so Reiki is, are you just asking like what a Reiki session does? Or, so Reiki is just, okay, so I'll just put a disclaimer out there. Everyone does Reiki a little bit different. So how I do Reiki is I will go into your energetic biofield and I will scan your body and I will see where you have stuck or stagnant energy. And then I will remove your energy and then I will infill it with high vibrational energy. I also go in and I'll tap into your chakras. And then I can tell you which chakras you have. You know what? And I'm just going to put a disclaimer out here. I taught myself chakras. I know people say chakras, but the way I read it when I was teaching myself was chakras. So I don't know. So don't kill me because I say chakras. So just going to put that out there. Let's see. Oh, thank you, Kat. She said it's magical and Nikki. Thank you. So yeah, so I just go in there and I do a bunch of different energetic things. I really do. I dabble all over the place. Like I do breath work, I do all these things, and I really do like to hone in on you. So I do tap into your energy before you do a Reiki session. So I could use music. Sometimes I don't use music. I really tap into your energy before you do a Reiki session. And then by the time I'm done your Reiki session, it'll kind of tell me where you need to go. Like either do you need life coaching, or do you need to remove something? Do you need to do some shadow work? And then we can kind of specialize in those little areas. Or if you really need something a lot deeper, then I can tell you, like, I do have people that I really do trust. Like I do trust Ashley. I trust Kat. I trust Sarah. Like I trust these people. And I would definitely 100% recommend you to these people. So if I don't feel like I could do it, or like maybe like if it's spiritual gifts, Kat, I'm only saying this because I just saw her, she popped up. I'm not very good at saying, hey, this is your spiritual gift and this is how you develop it and blah, 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 blah. If you don't know what your spiritual gift is yet, I'll be honest, she's a lot better at that than I am. I'm just going to be 100% honest. I have not developed that yet. And I haven't been working on developing that because that's not like something that I'm aspiring to do or anything like that. Can I tell you, or can I tap in and feel some things energetically about you, about your gifts? Yeah, I can. But I'm not going to, I don't have it as good as Kat does. So it's a lot different. But yeah, so that's how I do a Reiki session. Like I'll go in, I'll scan your energy, I'll remove negative energy, I'll infill it. And then I can kind of go over any message that comes through. Sometimes I get messages from like loved ones or just general messages that come through. And we can go over that, whether if you do, that's great. If you don't, we don't have to do that. And then I can kind of just give you a rundown. I'm telling you, every session is just a little bit different because it just depends on where you are in your spirituality, where you are in life, what roadblocks you have, what energetic blocks you have. It really is tailored to the person and their energy. Haley, if you could go back and tell yourself one thing at the start of your spiritual awakening journey, what would you say? It's all going to be worth it. It is all going to be worth it. Like I said, I wouldn't trade any of it because I absolutely love where I am today. I love the people I meet. I love I love this. Like, I love showing up authentically for you guys. I love tapping into your energy and seeing where you have those blocks and, letting you know that it's going to be okay. Just do this and this and this, and we can get through this. And I'll be there to help you get through it. Letting people know that they are not alone. Like, that is, for me, it is, I love watching people grow. I love taking someone who is like in that chaos and they're just like, I don't know what to do, because I was there. And then we come up with a plan. I can give them some homework. And then the next session, it's just like it's a completely different person. So yeah, what I would say is it's all going to be worth it. Let's see. Catherine, love the homework. Yeah. Raquel, I say chakras. I don't know. Maybe it's an northeastern thing. I don't know. But I hate when people are like, it's chakras. And I'm just like, if you're going to sit there and focus so much on how I'm saying it, you're missing the message. That's all I can say. That's all I'll say. Angela, so asking for a friend, me, do you talk to your parents or finally get to the point where you found a healthy way to include them? Like, I've forgiven my parents, but don't see a space for them in my life. Absolutely. So I've forgiven. So everything that's happened in my life, absolutely. I have no beef with anyone who has done me wrong, who has, absolutely 100% healed. I forgive in everything. I have forgiven. I don't forget. But I don't see a space in my life right now for them. Not at this time. For you, yeah. Setting boundaries. Absolutely. I would, that's kind of what yeah. Mm-hmm. I'm rereading your message, Angela, and I can't figure out if you're asking for you. Yes, I absolutely think so. I think right now, I don't feel like it's a forever, but I think it's so you can become your authentic self. I think you need to walk away for a little bit. You need to find yourself and become your true authentic self so you can stand in your power and set your boundaries and really, really stand in your true authentic self. And then you can reintegrate them. No, you are absolutely not alone in that. So a lot of people think that I know there's a lot of controversy with parents because a lot of people are very biblical where they're saying, you should honor your parents and things like that. But there are also like verses in the Bible that say that parents shouldn't put their children in a predicament to dishonor their parents. So if you are biblical, there are things like that because I know that a lot of clients say that. But it is absolutely okay, even if you aren't biblical or anything like that. Just in psychological and psychology, it is absolutely okay to take yourself out of the toxicity and work on yourself and set those boundaries and then reevaluate your situation and ask yourself if you want to get put back in. You are absolutely not alone. There are so many people who in this day and age, it is just, we'll just put it this way, hurt people. And there's a lot of generational people breaking generational curses and generational habits. So it's okay to step away and be that generational pullback. And then when you are ready, you can reintegrate them if you are ready and if it still serves your highest good. She says, yep, I just like at people like, what do you think that? I'm reading your comment. It's getting all kinds of crazy. Yep, I just like at people like, what do you think I went through to have to make that voice? Oh, okay. Okay. I was reading it. I was like, okay, it's getting a little crazy here. But yes, yeah, absolutely. Yes, Catherine. Yes, cat. Shall not provoke a child to wrath is a good verse to quote back. Yes. That's exactly what I was talking about. I can't call you Catherine. So yeah, does anyone have any questions? Like I said, I did warn you guys it was going to be an emotional roller coaster. Sorry if I got a little too crazy, but I just wanted to blow a little light on you guys and you know open up a little bit. That way you can kind of know where I come from, and you know that way you guys know that you guys aren't alone and that I did do my work and I have been there. That way you guys don't feel like, oh my God, I'm too damaged. I don't want to open up. Because I always get that. I always get clients who come in who are like terrified. I'm like, you don't have to say a word. I already know. You're good. You're good. You don't have to explain anything. No, you're good. Your autocorrect is fine. Mine, yeah, I hate autocorrect. So Sierra says, speaking of children, have you ever or excuse me, or can you do work or anything spiritual with children and babies? I hope that's not weird to ask. So I have done. I know that a lot of people don't do spiritual things with babies or anything like that. I do Reiki with children. I do have a couple of teens that I do I do Reiki with, and I did do Reiki with a baby. I did a couple sessions where the baby had like skin condition. We did a couple sessions, but we didn't get anything past that. But yes, I do Reiki with children. I don't do anything deeper. Like I won't do any journeying, or I won't go and do like how do I say? Like I won't go in and do deep diving and deep healing with children, but I will do like a Reiki session with children, if that makes sense. So Cheyenne says, my oldest boy has been wanting to be read spiritually. He's into a lot of things I've been into. How old is he? Yeah, because with children, it gets very, how do I say? There's like a fine line. So, okay, almost 11. Yeah. Who is this one? I did Reiki in a message and didn't get the results I needed. Do you recommend something? Oh, and do you mean Reiki and massage? So I'm answering. Okay, so yes. So here's the thing with Reiki with massage. Sometimes it kind of depends on the Reiki practitioner, because sometimes they're too focused on the massage and not the actual energy portion of it. So it really depends on who you go to. So like when I do it, I am just strictly doing Reiki. So I'm all doing just the energy. Were you open to it? Were you open and did you trust the person who was doing your massage and everything like that? Because sometimes that can be a block as well. If you didn't feel fully comfortable, that could have been a block as well. Sorry, I'm like have comments over here and over here. Kat says, is the journeying you're talking about similar to shamanic journeying? Now you have me curious. Kind of. I do some journeying through breath work. So yes, kind of like shamanic journeying. Yes, I was open, but okay, so that will definitely hinder your results. If you don't feel comfortable, then it's definitely going to put up some barriers on your energy, and your guides can feel it, and they're not going to let anyone dabble in your energy if you're not feeling comfortable with it. So that is definitely something I recommend. If you don't feel comfortable with someone dabbling in your energy, or you don't feel comfortable with your practitioner or anything like that, definitely find someone you resonate with. Find someone you feel comfortable with. Some like, because there's people that there's no way I would let them in my energy. Like there's just no way. You have to feel comfortable in order for someone to actually go in and do the healing, and find those spots where we can pull that out and then show you where you need to place your focus, to do so you could do that healing, if that makes sense. But if you're just if I'm like trying to go in and there's a barrier, like we're not going to make progress anywhere. So you definitely have to, first rule is make sure that you absolutely feel comfortable with whoever's doing your Reiki session. So yeah, definitely. So Terry says, maybe that was my issue at the fair. There were a lot of people around and I felt uncomfortable. Yeah, that could have been it as well. With fairs and Reiki sessions at fairs, it's so hard. It's not hard to do one, but it is sometimes hard for people to get relaxed. It is actually kind of funny because at Ashley's spiritual fair that I did last year, I actually had one person fall asleep. She had insomnia, and it was only like I think a 15-minute Reiki session, and I did it, and she passed out, and I like woke her up at the end, and she didn't tell me she had insomnia. And I like woke her up and she started freaking out. I was like, "Are you okay?" And she's like, "Yeah, I just have insomnia and I haven't slept in a while." And I'm like, "Okay, well that's normal." She's like, "No, it's not. Like I took a nap." And I'm like, "Oh yeah, that's fine." And she's like, "No, like I don't sleep." And I'm like, "Okay." Like it was so funny, but it is surprising that she was able to get that comfortable, especially in such a large crowd and things like that. Um, but yeah, it could have been why you probably had your guard up. You were kind of in survival mode. You probably weren't able to get relaxed enough in order to feel comfortable for them to get into your energy. So it probably had nothing to do with the practitioner. It could have been you. It could have been you just kind of putting up that guard and being in survival mode of there's a lot of people, there's a lot of noises, there's just too much going on. So you couldn't relax yourself enough in order for that practitioner to get into your energy. So yeah, I would definitely try it. So if you are a person who is kind of too much into their root chakra, that fight or flight, maybe scheduling like a personal session, not at a fair, somewhere where you can do it where it's nice and quiet, at an office or something like that, or even virtual where you can do it in your home and it's nice and quiet. I offer virtual. I don't know if you guys know that, but I do in person and virtual as well. And yes, you can get the healing virtual, quantum physics, entanglement. I'll go on another live and talk about that. This whole month is full of lives and fun things. I'm going live with Ashley, with Kat, with Sarah. So yeah. Yes, virtual Reiki. So it is quantum physics. Like I said, I'll do another live about that. But yes, it absolutely works. So if you want a virtual session, we can absolutely do that. And if you want to learn more about it, you can always just message me. I know that some people get kind of fear of messaging people, but just message me and we can talk about it. And I can give you all the information that you need. So feel free to message me. Angela says, I feel like I do a little better with earbuds, but still super anxious. Yeah. Yeah, and it's good. Some people feel more comfortable just at their own home, laying in their own bed. We do a Zoom link and just put the video on, and you see me, I see you, and we just go ahead and go for it. But some people feel more comfortable doing it at their house, and that's completely okay. Sometimes you can get a little bit more deeper because you do feel relaxed and you do feel at home and you feel more safe. So do a lot more deeper healing that way. So yeah, any other questions? Mm-hmm. I just love being with you guys. Thank you guys for joining. I love you guys. This is why I do what I do. I love you guys. Anyone else? Any other questions? I hope I didn't scare anyone off with my story, with my crazy life that I went through before my awakening. All right. Well, if no one has anything, then I guess I will let you guys go. Thank you guys for joining me and like listening to me rant and, just hanging out with me on this Friday night. So I do appreciate everyone who joined me and, just go ahead and share this video. That way others can kind of find me if they're going through their own thing. And it does help me get exposure and things like that. So definitely like, share, and comment and doing all that. You guys know the drill. You guys know all that fun stuff. So go ahead and share the video. That way, anyone who needs to find me can find me. I do have, I'll put it in the comments again. I have all my links and things like that. Anything that's going on. What else? Yeah. So I don't know. Until next time, I guess. Thank you guys for hanging out. I'll talk to you guys next time. Bye.